Disco Manila is really initially started from a mix I made, and I just tried to look for like the funkiest tracks I had. And most of them obviously came from the 70s, what is known as the Manila Sound era, which is a very kind of a specific sound in Philippine popular music that happened during the martial law era, the Marcos regime. During that time in martial law, with kind of a lot of the difficulties and troubles and for Filipinos, that they kind of were really kind of longing for a more simpler time and a peaceful time and a more happy time. So the music that came out of it were kind of this release. Say when you consider like the music from like the disco, some of the subject matter is kind of dark actually, even though they're dance music, but they're talking about the streets and they're talking about, you know, like, but like music of like the Philippines, like particularly like VST's music, it was all about like kind of lifting up the people. So that's kind of why it's endured. You can hear the difference. There's obviously commonality in terms of like some of the, obviously the beats and the rhythms and stuff, but there's the melody, which is really hard to grab, but you can feel it. And that's what's kind of the irony about like what happened during the Marcos era, because they were kind of using the people and their talent. The government was funding it because the government wanted to show the world, look how culturally evolved we are. So there was like kind of this kind of, they were being used in a sense, but they were also like, well, you know what, we're artists. But also the number one thing, it was that, like in terms of music, they had this like edict, the mandate that all radio stations in the Philippines had to play Filipino music, at least one an hour, you know. So that kind of obviously, so that helped the record industry and the blossom during that era because production went up. So some of those songs have kind of carried on and always covered and recovered by artists, new generations. Even there was like a really strong 90s indie rock scene that if you listen to them, they'll still do their covers. Even hip hop will sample VST songs and stuff. I feel like a lot of it kind of stopped, you know, and then now it's coming back. There's kind of this new kind of interest in the music, kind of what I'm really optimistic about is just, I just feel like a good way to learn about like your culture or even any culture is to kind of track the music that people are listening to, dancing to, you know, and it kind of says a lot. So for me, it's like just going back and it just keeps me back, you know, in touch with my roots and my past and my, you know, my homeland. Ang isip ko